Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of At the Movies with William Fletcher. As per usual, I am your host, William Fletcher, and I am joined this week as, I'm gonna just say right now, effectively my co-host on this show,
Yay! Yay!
Mr. Harry Johnson.
70 odd
joining.
episodes or something. Oh, hold up.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Say that again. I say it's fantastic. No.
This week, we are going to be talking about Fantastic Four, because there's finally going to be a new Fantastic Four film, Fantastic Four: The First Steps, out this week. It'll be out this week when this episode goes out.
Actually, it's fourth steps, by the way. So it's actually its fifth steps.
It is
if
fifth steps. Yeah, if you count all the live action films. Fantastic Four. I mean, I think we'll talk about this new movie at the end, as we always do, because that's just how this works. But to talk about Fantastic Four, we're going to talk about the films. So there's the 90s film, 1994 film, the two mid-2000s ones with fucking like Chris Evans and shit, and then Fant Four Stick, which was the last time they attempted to make Fantastic Four make it into a film. So I'm just reading here. So Fantastic Four, they first appeared in 1961, so they are up there as like the oldest comic book characters.
Well, they're Marvel's first family. I think that's the entire shtick, right? Yeah, I mean, I've always been a big fan of the Fantastic Four as characters, and sort of their run throughout, but they've just seemed like such a difficult IP to adapt to the big screen. You know,
yes.
We have an origin story that I'd say is probably best told from, at least again so far, when it comes to the big screen. Most like truthfully adapted by the first, or not the first one, technically the second one, but the 2004, 2003?
Or the first one they did, like the sort of
theatrical released, yeah.
The 2005, I think it was.
2005, yeah. Yeah, that is like, you know, and just to rehash for anyone that might not, because not everyone does. See, Fantastic Four being Marvel's original IP and their biggest until the Avengers, and Spider-Man, but
yeah,
and then X-Men as well, because they've always had super teams, but this was never a collection of different superheroes that got together to create a team. They all have the same origin story. Whether you want to get into like sort of the background between like Reed and Sue's relationship, but they were exposed to a cosmic storm. They got powers from that. Reed, everyone knows Reed Richards, super genius scientist. Johnny Storm, the sort of young, fiery one. Ben, who I would argue is probably more of a hothead, but he's the bruiser, and he always was the bruiser. But if you don't know, Ben and Reed were like best mates, so that's why they're family. And Johnny and Sue are brother and sister. Reed's married to Sue.
Yeah, because I'm just reading. So it seems like Fantastic Four, they were like one of the first real Marvel because I'm just like, X-Men didn't become a team, and like they weren't created until a couple years later. I don't think the Avengers were really like Iron Man wasn't even created for like a couple more years either. Like Fantastic Four, along with Spider-Man, because Spider-Man started in the 60s as well. I don't know when exactly Spider-Man first was created. I'm just checking here. 1962.
Have you ever seen the clip of Stan Lee talks about creating Spider-Man because he was commissioned to create a superhero that was like more child. Spider-Man saved Marvel, but like he was commissioned to create like a something to do that appealed more to kids or like was more relatable. And he came up with the Spider-Man, and everyone thought it was going to be awful because like, what, the spiders? Like, no one likes spiders.
No, I'm not.
But
Yeah, I'm just reading here on the Wikipedia page for Marvel Comics. So it was founded in 1939 by Martin Goodman as Timely Comics, and by 1951 had generally become known as Atlas Comics. The Marvel era began in August 1961 with the launch of the Fantastic Four. So they were like the beginning of Marvel Comics as we now know it. They were the founding characters. Created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Yes.
And yeah, it's interesting how important they are to comics. To say that everyone's found it exceedingly difficult to make a good Fantastic Four movie.
And they've always done it with the main core four as well. I think it's important to mention just before we get into the films. The Fantastic Four, everyone knows the Fantastic Four is the Invisible Woman, Mr. Fantastic, The Thing, and Johnny Storm. There have been, or Human Torch, if you want, but yeah, there have been a lot of different popular superheroes that have been a part of the Fantastic Four. I think Ant-Man, Black Panther, Spider-Man, She-Hulk was in it, Moon Girl, like lower IP, Moon Girl. But yeah, like bigger names that aren't, the core four. But the core four of the face, that's what every film that has ever been made about the Fantastic Four, that's the Fantastic Four. But yeah, I think it's just important to mention. But yeah, for some reason they have really, you are right, William, they have really struggled to adapt.
I think the difference is compared to something like the event or
Which is,
League. They all can be introduced in separate movies and get brought together later on. Whereas you come with the Fantastic Four, they have to be. They don't get separate origin stories. They don't get that. In the way that the Avengers or the Justice League or X-Men. To be fair, X-Men are sort of even then in X-Men they sort of can. The X-Men's a bit different as well, I think, in the way that in the way they get used. But Fantastic Four, you can't really give solo films to the four members because it just doesn't work the same. That's not how their characters work and how the team works. So I think that's definitely part of it. I also think part of it is that studios make Fantastic Four movies just so they can hold on to the rights of the characters, so they didn't have to sell them. So I mean, the 1994 Fantastic Four film, which I don't really need to talk about too much because it's really unimportant. But the whole film was made, but from everything I've read, no one seems to think it was ever going to be released. Because it didn't get released, and everyone's saying they were just making it so they could retain the rights. There have been copies of the film that have gone online, so people can see it now. It is, now technically a released film. But it's not a good film. I watched it a couple of days ago, just for the purposes of this record, and I wasn't particularly impressed by it. I didn't think that much of it. I just want to look at my rating for it because I was not a fan. I gave it a 4 out of 10. But like I say, I don't really have much to say on it because Harry, you were telling me before we started that you have seen it, but you don't remember it.
Well, no, I don't remember it because I was with some mates and we were having a bit of a drink. We may have been 16, but yeah, I don't know. We thought it was funny to chuck it on. We were watching it on some website, where you got to click away the ads where it's hot single grandmas in your area,
Yeah.
Those sort of ads, and they keep popping up halfway through the movie, and you press X, go away, press X, go away, and that sort of thing. And no one was really paying attention. It was just sort of on, and they were because I grew up, we all had sort of a general interest in film. But yeah, I mean it, and we thought it was a funny thing to put on. But yeah, I wouldn't feel right speaking about it because I just don't have the education to talk about it. Really, I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
In enough context.
Mm. I mean, yeah, I give it a 4. It's not really worth. It's worth watching, I guess, if you're interested in like weird artifacts of like film history. But it's not like if you like don't go in thinking you're gonna get a good movie because you're not gonna get that. But just as an
Yeah.
interesting relic of the 90s, give it a watch, I guess. But we move on to 10 years later, 11 years later, 2005. They did a another attempt at Fantastic Four, just called Fantastic Four. Uh, yeah, released 2005, which I rewatched a couple days ago. First time I've seen this film before, but it had been a while since I had seen it. I mean, it's not great. Like,
Are you
not a particularly
now,
great
William?
film.
We have to. I have to disagree with you there, and we'll have to agree to disagree because I
Of course,
love this film so much. I have such
is
a
that
soft spot. It's not
in
great.
an
It is
ironic?
not great.
Yeah, is that in an ironic you like it, or in a you think it's like legitimately good?
I think it's a good film. Okay. And this is something to mention, and yeah, I'm going to be spoiling some of the other fan four stick films, but the
Yeah,
the origin
spoilers
story
ahead.
of Doom,
You can, but yeah.
they've really, and the reason I think they've butchered it so much, the second one has its own sort of butchering with a certain character, but it's always the villain that gets butchered, and they go so big with Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom, who, yes, is quite a vital character in overall Marvel history, but his original origin story, at least in Fantastic Four, was he was college rivals with Reed, and
Mm,
he starts and he tries to send him back in time to steal like a treasure chest or something, and then they like trick him with chains, so he tries to kill him, and he holds Sue hostage, and Sue escapes because she's Sue Storm,
mm,
and also in this first film, just while we're talking about Sue Storm really quickly, and in the
mm-hmm.
second film as well, weird obsession with getting her naked. I understand it's the early 2000s, raunchy movies, but anyway,
Yeah, I
outrageous.
really noticed that on this. Yeah, I know the actress Jessica Alba kind of nearly quit acting because of these films, I think. Like, she did not have a good
Got
time
naked in
making
the second
them.
one too. And my biggest thing as well is I think Jessica Alba does a good job as an okay job as Sue Storm. It's not a crazy dynamic, but I do think that I do love that the clothes actually affect her ability to go invisible. I hate when characters who can go invisible disappear with
I
clothes.
do like that, yeah.
And The
Uh,
Incredibles do it as well. That it's a really good. It's really just like it's good. Just do it properly. Make it make sense in a world when like it doesn't make sense really. But yeah, Victor Von Doom, he like starts teaming up with like the Submariner and the Mole Man, and then he overall becomes evil. Everyone has seen, at least an excerpt of the comic book clip where he like rips Thanos' spine.
mm,
Doctor Doom at one point is the most powerful like Marvel
mm,
character. He's in crazy strong, but his original, because it was again like the 50s, the 40s. His original sort of beginnings were quite humble, but in every
mm,
single film
mm,
that involves Victor Von Doom, which one again you're going for the biggest fish, and will the new MCU one is doing that at times 1,000. They try to like tie him to the Fantastic Four's origins in the same movie by going like, oh, he was on the ship and he also got hit by it, even though he closed the shield so he wouldn't get hit by it. Or yeah, he like the cosmic storm, or oh, he touched liquid in an alternate world and the volcano erupted and then he got trapped and we all thought he died, but really he became fused with his suit or his metal or whatever.
mm,
And it just doesn't work. And I thought that in the first film too. I thought Doom let it down, if anything, but that's my biggest negative. I really
mm,
think that this first film, it has a real charm to it that I can't explain. I love Ben Grimm specifically. His character in this is so, I think, really well done. His motivations are absolutely understandable. They're valid. He got stiffed He gets absolutely stiffed. He gets turned into a big rock guy.
Yeah,
Like, what are we talking?
he gets pretty hard done by as a character in this film. Like his wife leaves him because he's a big rock man. So he finds a
But
new woman who's blind.
his redemption. He also has his redemption at the end of the film. And I
Mm,
like the new woman that's blind is like a funny little bit. You know what I mean? Like that's okay. That in the early 2000s, that's funny. Nowadays, it's not funny. But in
mm,
the early 2000s, it's oh yeah, good. Clever. But yeah, his redemption of he basically yes he sacrifices his marriage. Like he sacrifices his life, his
mm,
life that he liked
mm.
to become a big rock guy. And yeah, he's got super strength, but other than that, he doesn't really have much.
I think that it's interesting to watch sort of superhero movies from like the 2000s because just the way they're made, like there's a completely different way like if you look at Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
films, they're completely different to how like a modern Spider-Man film is made. Um, for worse, personally, I would say occasionally for better, but mostly for worse. Because there is just something about set this like the comic book silliness and corniness in those Raimi films that is just great to have. Like, whereas now everything's a
Less,
bit more like gotta
yeah.
be dark and gritty and realistic, which is just like,
And that,
why should we
and
do
that's not
that?
to discredit the Raimi films or these films because the Raimi films they do emotion really well, and these films do emotion really well. And I think that's the biggest downfall to the newer Marvel movies. I feel like the emotion's not there. I
Yeah,
feel like,
yeah. I,
and
I
it's the
wasn't
same
trying to
when we're
like
speaking
insult
about
the
Pixar as
Raimi.
well.
Yeah, I wasn't
Oh
trying to
no,
like
no, not at
insult the
all. No, no,
Raimi
no.
films,
No, but you're
but
completely valid. Like in that
I
first
think
Spider-Man Raimi
yeah.
film, when the Green Goblin blows the people up on the balcony and the skeletons just go and then fall,
Oh, that's
is
great. Yeah,
so
it's
great because it's bad, but
yeah,
it's great.
yeah. Like there's something about like like when they didn't like because they didn't really know like the rules yet or like the formulas that needed to
They
be.
were
This
paving
is
the
pre
way, and
MCU.
they had to
This
get
is
they had to
pre MCU. Pre Dark Knight trilogy as well. Like this is before the Dark Knight had come out, so they were like, they
yeah
were
they
very much sort of,
they hit all the
this along
potholes.
with
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, this along with Blade and X-Men and the Raimi Spider-Man film, sort of all in that late 90s, early to mid 2000s, sort of helped shape what we've got now with the MCU and the like. I mean, I don't hate this first Fantastic Four film. I think there's some stuff in it that I do like. It is interesting watching Chris Evans in this now that after spending a decade with him as Captain America,
can
like
I
it's weird to
can
just
I
watch him. Yeah.
I and I think we spoke about it in when we have we ever touched on Scott Pilgrim? Because I think we spoke about and we've spoken about Chris Evans sort of here and
We
there.
did when we did the Edgar Wright
Yeah.
filmography. We talked about Scott Pilgrim then. Yeah.
Yeah. I truly do believe that Chris Evans works so much better as an asshole than he does as a straight man. Him as Captain America, I think he's great. He is perfect Captain America, but he's the perfect young Chris Evans is the best Johnny Storm. I genuinely he plays that sort of like young, arrogant, fiery, hothead character so braggadocious. He's such an asshole, and it works really
Yeah.
well. He plays such a good younger brother, and he's got such a charm as well. Chris Evans,
Yeah.
he's such a perfect cast for this role. I
Mm.
love him so much as this, and that's what I mean. I think maybe it's the performances is why I like this film so much.
Yeah. I think Chris Evans, he does work really well. He's just got that sort of sarcastic nature to him that does just fit Johnny Storm when he's like riling up the other characters and just being an asshole and just being a dick. I do think I like him as Captain America, but I will be honest, I was quite happy to see him back as Human Torch Deadpool and Wolverine, I was really happy to see him back in that role again because it was just nice to see him in that role again. And I think that, I mean, to talk about the cast, yeah, I was just reading here Jessica Alba. She basically nearly quit acting after the second one. It wasn't the first one; it was after the second one. Apparently, her emotional performance. The director said her emotional performance wasn't bad, and suggested she cried prettier with a flat face, even suggesting they would CGI the tears, which is just a terrible because that's a thing in films is when characters cry, it's not ugly crying, people getting like all blubbery
They
and their
cry
noses are
hot.
getting yeah, it's like it's like the single tear down their cheek,
You
like
know,
that's all it
and
is.
and again, I have to reaffirm with a unblemished record of staunch heterosexuality. That's a famous George line from Seinfeld. Tom Holland looks hot when he cries in the newest Spider-Man films. You know what I mean? Like he looks messy, but he looks hot still when he does it. He's got like red eyes, but the way he does like the puppy eyes, and
Yeah,
so you're absolutely right. They always try to like still look good while they're crying.
and we've got. I'm just looking at who else was in this film. Well, recently, Julian McMahon, who was Doctor Doom, recently passed away.
Yeah.
Like a couple weeks ago, which is just
Ooh.
tragic. To
Yeah, very recent.
2nd of July, 56, which is not like that's too young. Shouldn't be, that's
That's
way too
far too
young.
young.
Yeah,
That
died from
yeah.
lung metastasis,
Is that like smoking
caused by
or
head and neck
pneumonic?
cancer, which is just a
Oh,
really terrible. Like one cancer is bad enough, but two is
yeah.
awful. As Victor Von Doom, like on the whole, I think this is a. I like the suits in this film actually. I like the design. Like they're very they're very simple, but they're kind of just they're just kind of there's a simplicity to them that
He's also
just
an
like this.
Australian actor, which is important to note as well.
He yes, Australian American. I believe he had
Yeah.
dual citizenship. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I will say this is probably the best Fantastic Four film that has been made to date. Like, this is the new Fantastic Four isn't out yet, so we can't comment on it. We haven't seen it. But as of right now, as of when we're recording this is the best Fantastic Four movie, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. I hear contention for the Rise of the Silver Surfer being the best one, which I do have
Really?
to disagree. I do quite like that film as well. Uh, I didn't initially, but on rewatch, I thought again, besides one just glaring flaw, but other than that, I thought it was okay. But yeah, no, I would agree. This one has that that grounded, and again, I say this every time we talk about things that are superheroes, but it's such an important thing to get right. Right, is how does it feel, and
Hmm.
for lack of a better word, how does it explain itself? How does it justify? How are any of the character motivations justified? How is it? Can it be realized to a human trying to understand? Because if I can't, or if you can't, or if your mum can't go into the cinema and grasp why what's happening is happening, or
Hmm.
if they're lost at any point, then you're doing something wrong. That's not meaning to try to
Hmm.
accommodate to every single person, but you've got to have a a movie that makes sense. And I don't think that Fan Four Stick does that, but that's not the point. I do think that this one does, and I think it does it really well. But it's also its feel. It's this is such a comfortable movie. I feel like you can put this on. I don't know,
Yeah,
at least for
it.
me. Maybe I grew up with it a bit. I'd like, and that wasn't a big thing in my house. I always just sort of had a soft spot for it. I love Reed Richards' character in this film. I feel like
Mm,
he's portrayed really well. I think the core cast, which is your Fantastic Four and I guess Doom, but again, they always seem to butcher his origins. That not to say that he didn't have a great performance. I feel like he was performed really well. But the Fantastic Four's individual motivations, except I do think that Johnny Storm's was really underdeveloped, was what held this movie up so high for me. And yeah, I do definitely think it's the best one.
Yeah, I think it is. It's like it's not like an amazing film, but I will say this: I
No.
have seen significantly worse like comic book films.
I
Like,
think if the MCU came out with this today, not this obviously specifically. Oh no, but pretty close to this with its usual little quirks. I think it would do well. I think people wouldn't be, oh my god, the MCU is back, but I think it would definitely, and it have like a cult following, and this film does have a cult following. Like there is a large fan base for these films, and again, I think that comes down to the performances, the sort of individual characters, and how they work as a whole. I think the story for the first film, like the general overarching story, is just fine, if you ask me. I do like that they did the Cosmic Storm with the Marvel one, and they go up there. Although I don't like how they always have it be Doctor Doom that like finances it, because he doesn't. Like unless I'm wrong, because I absolutely could be. Again, I didn't read much Fantastic Four, but I'm pretty sure he's not the the financier of these little escapade that they go on. Although it absolutely makes sense. Again, his relationship with Ben Grimm's character, where Ben Grimm just wants to be turned back, Reed's taking too long. Doom can legitimately help him, and then obviously Doom's bad because Doom's bad. For that moment, you absolutely understand Ben Grimm's motivation. You are like, it's not justified. The whole villain arc against the Fantastic Four is justified, although it does seem a bit rushed. Some of the storyline. Is it only an hour and a half? What's the runtime on this?
When I watch it, it was 1 hour 40 at 1 hour 45, maybe. Like,
Yeah. Well, see, there you go. It's very quick runtime. Or not very quick. 1 hour 40 is still a decent amount of time to contribute to a film. But when you're juggling 4 characters, and this is the only time you'll ever hear me say this, a longer film is justified. I think this is a 2-hour film. I would love to see maybe a director's cut or an extended edition with just a bit more, because yeah, there are absolutely moments. The entire final third act feels a little quick. Yeah, I just feel like it spends a bit early on in just like setting the foundations for the Fantastic Four, which is important. But people know the Fantastic Four, right? Also, just quickly, one vital moment that happens in this film when the Fantastic Four get their name, when Ben Grimm stops a suicide, which is a very grassroots, friendly neighborhood sort of hero thing to do. He absolutely kills that truck driver. I don't care what anyone says. The entire front of that truck folded in on itself.
it is interesting how much they kind of like. There's the scene on the bridge in that first film, and he just collides with the like he doesn't like try and put his hands up. Like he just full on like heaves his body into the front.
Yeah, he shoulder charges he does an old classic rugby shoulder charge into the front of the semi and saves this person, which is very good. And Sue, the rest of the Fantastic Four come in to help, and then you get on which is such a great moment, and then just instantly undercut by this emotionally charged sort of. And I think that works well as well. And these are the little things I like about it, because yeah, a lot of the filler of the movie does sort of feel like filler that is centered around these core moments. But that core moment, I think, works really well. The sort of the entire emotional beat with Ben Grimm's character, where he's wearing the hoodie and it's rain, like that sort of thing, and it's dark, or he's trying to hide himself. I think like those are the moments that make this specific individual film work really well. Because yeah, genuinely believable. And yeah, Chris Evans is just hilarious when he's like an asshole. Again, I just can't get over how well I get such a kick out of it because you don't get it much. You get it a little bit, but a lot of the time, at least lately, he's been the face. He's been the front man. But I love him just to sort of play that like, all right, I'm gonna be braggadocious, like stuck up. Oh, I only want to date Victoria's Secret models kind of guy. I really like that. I think he plays it so well. That arrogance.
I will say, yeah, this is. I haven't exactly been singing the praises of this first one, and it's the most positive I'm gonna be this week. So,
Okay.
but I give it a 5.
You could have gone 4. You could have done something pretty funny.
I could have, but I look. I didn't hate watching it. Like that's the thing, really. Is did I like a 5 is not sure. It's like, did I hate watching this? And I didn't hate watching it. I don't really feel a desire to ever watch it again. But like, it's certainly in terms of like, because mid 2000, well, the 2000s, like before the MCU, was a rough time for superhero movies. Okay, there weren't a lot of like, we had the Raimi films, which are great. We had the first 2 X-Men films, the first 2. And that was kind of it in terms of like the good one. And then we had like Dark Knight trilogy, but only one of the Dark Knight trilogy is actually like a great film. The other 2 are, well, one's decent and one is shit. But in the 2000s, it was a bit, it was a difficult time because they sort of didn't know what to do really. Like this was sort of around the time when CGI was becoming more and more of a thing, in terms of like utilization in films. And I will say, in these two Fantastic Four films, some of it has not aged particularly well.
No.
Some of
No.
it has aged quite terribly. Mainly with Mr. Fantastic, like that's where it
And
really stood
stretching.
out to me. Like,
Such
yeah,
a
when he's
difficult thing to get right, though.
yeah,
Like
it's like,
not justifying the budget that they have for this film, and like, and yeah, early stages. But you're absolutely right. But yeah,
but yeah, I give this first one a 5 out of 10.
thinking actually, I didn't come preloaded with one. I do for the other films, but not this one. Yeah, this film's a 7, and the reason it's not an 8, although I've been seeing a lot of praise and not a whole lot of negativities, is because the negatives, there's so much little praises that I can give this film, and like big praises as well, like the emotional moments. I think they do really well. The characters, I think they do really well. Those relationships, I think they do really well. And if you've listened to any episodes I'm on, you would have heard me say time and time again that those are things I really value. Great writing, and yeah, I think this is written really well, except for the fact that they always try to tackle such big characters, such big villains, way too early into the Fantastic Four story, and that's what they're doing with the new Marvel one as well. But like, why don't you have
yeah,
them it's a big part in their history that they were once framed by Skrull, list about 4 different Skrull dressed up as Fantastic Four and got them incarcerated. Characters like Mole Man and Submariner, who's like a decently big character in the Marvel world, and have them, or even write something new, but don't just constantly go, who's the big IPs that we can add to these characters? Because if you're going to keep adding these big IPs, but you also want to really focus on the individual relationships, which this first film I think does, then one feels more undercooked than the other. And in this film, it's just Doom's whole arc. Although I do love how brutal that, like, he has no mercy, and that's
no,
Doom's character in a nutshell. He'll just kill on sight. Like, he doesn't care who you are. He's just Doom, dead.
yeah,
I don't care. Like, it doesn't affect him at all. And that's what I think they did well. But other than that, I really think that he was undercooked a little bit. Also, he just feels a little shallow. And again, that's not at the performance. I think that's largely how they've written him. But
yeah,
he's such an important character. You have to get him right. He's sort of the
yeah.
downfall.
I mean, we'll get
Because they
into
write
this.
it, they almost sort of they almost sort of write him similarly to, and we were speaking about Superman last week, but they write him similarly to like a Lex Luthor sort of, where they give him like this sort of jealousy and this bitterness. He's supposed to be insane and also insanely overpowered,
Yeah.
but insane. He's not weak, and I feel like often in these films of Doctor Doom, there's a weakness in his character. I don't know. That's why I give it a 7 and not something higher. Although that's still quite high, and that's personal bias coming into it as well. I understand that.
Then we move into the sequel. It came out 2 years later, 2007. Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Now this part of, now this yeah.
It's not good, is it? Are you gonna defend this one as well, or are you gonna?
A little bit. I'm gonna defend it slightly. Because it's
Okay.
got a much bigger flaw. It is, and I'll jump in. It right up the front of the bat, I'm just gonna sing its negativity out of the way. It does the exact same
Alright.
thing as the first fucking one with its villain. Also, Galactus not a cloud. Don't make him a big fucking cloud. Why is he a big cloud? So dumb. I hate it so much. It undermines his character. Like that's so vital. He is the biggest. He's one of the biggest bads of the biggest bads. And you're like, we're gonna make him a big cloud that dies from an explosion. He's a cloud. He can't die from an explosion. What are you fucking talking about? Pick one or the other. And also, he dies from like Silver Surfer's energy. But Silver Surfer survives. Silver Surfer's powerful. Not that fucking powerful. Galactus is an insanely big villain for what he is. And he's just a big cloud. Oh no. Why don't you fucking I don't know. Why don't you put a big force field around him? He's a cloud.
Yeah, I think I think this is a terrible film. I really don't.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, Doom's arc is underbaked. I like Silver Surfer. I actually do.
mm,
I
it's
think I think them sort of
yeah.
turning Silver Surfer, saving him, that's I think that's done pretty well. I think again we just get a bit more of Johnny Storm. The concept of him interchanging with all the others' powers is pretty funny. I think
Mm,
it would work well maybe in like a TV episode, but it
mm,
feels a bit too goofy for what this film is trying to do and how serious it's trying to be. I think we get some more good performances. I always love to see Andre Braugher, rest in peace.
yep,
But
R.I.P. Yeah, I think I would genuinely be surprised if we get a Fantastic Four film worse than this.
no, we have. It's called Fan Four Stick. I don't think this is the worst one. I know you. Well, evidently you think that this is the worst one.
Yeah, I really am not a fan of this. And I
I feel,
don't. I mean, Galactus is terrible in this.
and he's
Um,
so vital. He's so
he's
fucking vital
such.
to
I
like
mean,
everything.
I will say this: the Disney's upcoming Fantastic Four. At least Galactus is like a human. Like he's just a really tall dude. Like I'd
Yeah, or
much
like a god
rather.
sized character. Yeah, instead of
Yeah,
just a big cloud.
I'm not a fan. I don't like this film. I just remember
Yeah,
sitting there watching it.
I
I
think
was just
yeah.
like, this is shit, and I don't like that I am watching this. And
Was there any praises you could sing about it at all? I think some of the character
um,
performances were okay. They get Sue Storm naked
I
again. There's no point in redoing that bit. I
no,
think that was purely just to piss off Jessica Alba, like genuinely. And it was just like, okay, we're gonna make
yeah,
you
I
naked.
wouldn't be knowing how the industry treats women. I wouldn't be surprised if that was done just to treat her poorly. I will say I liked Silver Surfer in this. I think he worked just about. I think that well, first of all, I'm just looking at here. I didn't know he was voiced by Lawrence Fishburne, who's a great actor, and I didn't know Doug Jones was like the physical, like which I mean makes sense. I think Doug Jones is a very talented man. Yeah, I think Silver Surfer worked, and I will say this: I think he he looks a lot better than the upcoming Silver Surfer, like just in terms of like visuals wise. I like how Silver Surfer looks. But yeah, I'm not. I will say this isn't the worst film I've had to cover for this show, but it's not a good one.
I have a quick question. Don't you think that and again, yeah, this isn't a critique on the film. This is more just me asking you a question about something that happens in the film. When Chris Evans turns into the Thing, he looks like Ryan Reynolds. Don't you think?
He,
Do you not think that he kind of looks
he,
like Ryan Reynolds?
now that you mention it, yeah, it yeah, it kind of does. I didn't even notice that, but it totally does actually look vaguely like Ryan Reynolds. Yeah,
Yeah, like vaguely. Again, Ryan Reynolds doesn't look like a big
yeah.
Cheeto, but yeah, and he's sort of got that Ryan Reynolds look to him. But yeah, I don't know. I don't disagree with you, William. There are parts of it that just sort of feel like a lot of it feels just very like, why is this happening? Like some of the filler, especially. I do like, and this is going to be the exact opposite. This at the moment, which is a plus for this film, is going to be a negative for the next one. I do like that they
Mm,
bring in like military involvement a bit more, and sort of have that be like a plot line that goes through, because that would absolutely make sense a little bit, and I also
mm,
like that some of them are likable characters. But yeah, I reckon. Other than I love Silver Surfer, but that's pretty much about it. I like the way they look, and I also just like their sort of character. Although you don't really get much character through it, but I think they did it
mm,
well. I think if Silver Surfer was the issue is the Silver Surfer is never going to be the main villain because they are the messenger for Galactus, right? Like
mm,
you're never going to get them just versing the Silver Surfer, no Galactus, but you can, right? Because look at Guardians of
mm.
the Galaxy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, he's
Mhm,
merely just the messenger for Thanos, kind of. Like, you could have done
mm,
that, especially at the level of what Galactus is such a bigger character in the Marvel universe than Thanos. Like,
mm,
he's a very he's one of the biggest villains, and not just on size, but yeah, also on size because he eats worlds. And I think, well, no, he doesn't. He's a cloud, actually. But yeah, I don't know. I just think I think some of it feels underdeveloped. The writing felt a bit sort of misplaced, and I think at some points it sort of lost a bit of a plot. But it also just didn't doesn't. It's not overtly exciting. But where it's good, I think it succeeds in the same places that the first one did, where it's like the character relationships between the individual like Fantastic Four members. But that can't just be the one positive. You know what I mean? You've got to be able
mm,
to build, and I just don't think they built very well. Although, yeah, I do appreciate some of the funnier bits, but
mm,
that doesn't mean that I think it's like a great watch. And I do. You could have gone with any direction you'd wanted with the second one, and you've gone for not only Doom, but the next, maybe the only other villain in the Marvel unit. There's millions of villains in the Marvel universe that are huge, but or
mm,
thousands or whatever. But when you think of the most impactful ones, think of like Thanos, Doom, Galactus, Kang,
mm.
Kang the Conqueror,
Yeah.
and then you think of like you've got others throughout there as well. But Doom for not only the Fantastic Four, but Spider Man and the X Men and that sort of subgenre of Marvel, I guess, that even though they work with the Avengers, that feels a little bit different.
Mm,
To try to juggle him and then have like the one person above and fuck them both up is it's so
mm,
disappointing. But again, other than that, I think yeah, other than the original praises we gave to the first,
mm.
I don't have much.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't really have much to say. I just remember sitting there watching it, being like, "Why am I watching this?" Like, I was like, "I can't believe I have to watch this again," because it because you've got like two villains. Because you've got Galactus and you've got Doom. Like those are the two
And you've got
villains.
Silver Surfer. You kind of got three.
It's yeah, but it sort of feels like Galactus is an afterthought. Like he's only really in it at like the end of the movie.
Yeah, he's like a big shadow that they just instantly defeat. And it's like, okay,
Mm.
why didn't we get like yeah, I don't know, the threat. And I understand in the sense that just the threat of Galactus has a big enough impact to be considered a villain without even really having to deal with him at all in the entire film. Like the threat of this god that eats planets.
Yeah,
But like but like, how do you feel that threat when it's like, I'm sent down here because big cloud. I've been pretty hung up on the cloud thing, but I like.
it's yeah. I appreciate that we're now at a time where superhero movies are just being straight up faithful to the source material now. Like
Yeah, but that's also they're being more faithful to the source material because they have that opportunity to do that now because of its
yeah,
popularity.
I give it a 3 out of 10.
So, Matt, how are you avoiding 4 so much? I'll give you know what? I'll give this a
It just
4.
um it's it's not. I just didn't enjoy watching it. Honestly, I didn't like it. I didn't have a good time watching it. It was really just
You do get
just
the fabled Stan Lee cameo.
oh yeah, there's the Stanley cameo in both of these films actually. He's in
Yeah, actually, both.
um
Yeah,
he's just like he's the mailman in the first one? Like in the build like the
yeah. He's the postal U.S. postal.
and in the second one he's like trying to get into the wedding, isn't it? And he gets like
Yeah, he gets rejected. Yeah, he's a rejected
he's
wedding
rejected.
guest.
This was like this was like because if you look at sort of the older Stanley cameos when like he was like in the first Raimi Spider-Man, it is a blink and you'll miss it cameo. Like he's barely in it.
I will give one thing to it. I like the Johnny Storm little arc that he has where he's like, "Give me all your powers. I'm gonna go fight this ultra powerful sort of Silver Surfer."
Mm.
Where taking on that responsibility, I think, is cool. But like, well, what are we justifying here? We're justifying they give a character a little bit of responsibility because they're a fucking superhero. Yeah, I don't know. I do like that, but I've just jumped on. Well, actually, I jumped on previously because remember I mentioned earlier that some people think that this is the best Fantastic Four movie, and I was trying to understand why. And I read some reviews, positive reviews, and a lot of them were sort of about things that I don't think really work. But a lot of people think this is the better of the two.
Really? That you've met people who think this is the best Fantastic Four movie?
Yeah, I know one in person, and then I know. Well, I've read like people's reviews on what they think of this film. But yeah, like
Huh.
I've spoken to people and they've been like, yeah, this is, or they like it. And the only thing that I find redeeming about this film is the Silver Surfer. I think the Silver Surfer saves it, and that's the only thing that doesn't feel super underbaked, but it does still little feel like that it could have given the Silver Surfer the entire attention because, and again, this is the same people's criticisms of Sam Raimi's third Spider-Man. And we're talking about Spider-Man just as much as we're talking about Fantastic Four, which seems to happen every time we bring up superheroes with me. Like, when you juggle too many characters, it's just going to be one's going to be done really well, but missing a little bit, and then the other two are going to just be missing a whole lot of bit. And that's the way it just seemed to go in the early 2000s. It's the way it went with this one too. I think the Silver Surfer, if you just gave your whole attention, and then maybe after the credit scene, you have them speaking to Galactus, like, yes, the world is prepared for this or that or whatever. then I think you start to build something. But this film doesn't build anything. It just goes, oh, Venice is sinking at the end of the film. Yeah, guess what? Venice is actually sinking. You know why? Because it's always been sinking. It doesn't. It was an island that was made.
Yeah.
It was a swamp bog with a bunch of logs put into the ground to give it stabilization, but it's still a swamp bog. Like it's still going to sink at one point, and not because the ocean's rising. Well, maybe because the ocean's rising, but also because it's sinking. And yeah, there's probably Mole Man, but like, how are you going to set up the least impactful character for the third film after you've just done Galactus and Doom? Yeah. But those are people's praises for it. That they do the Silver Surfer well. I understand that, but that doesn't make it a great film.
No, just because they understand one part of the characters doesn't mean the film itself is any good. But this did sort of put a nail in the coffin for a bit on Fantastic Four movies. We are going to be talking about, to cap off this week's episode, is Fant Four Stick. Everything I had read before I saw it, that this is one of the worst films ever made, apparently. That is...
It's so bad. They just went with they went for like a really young route core cast, and I just don't think it works.
It is, yeah, by all accounts, everybody hates the film. I think worst thing ever. I'm just looking here on Letterboxd just to see what like the average rating for it on Letterboxd is by like lowest average. It is the 35th lowest rated film on the website. I mean, look, it's not a good film. It's not a good film. But I also didn't it's not good. Like, I'm not gonna try and sit here and say this is good, because it's not. It's not good. But I am gonna be honest, I do think I prefer it to Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Crazy, William. That's such a hot take. And the
there was a bit of, I don't know if it was just buffering or something, but there was a long period on my head. It was like I was stewing with rage, just taking that all in.
No, not stewing with rage. Stewing with like
surprise.
I was contemplating thought. Yeah, because I was thinking like how. I was trying to think of your justification of like what is positive about this film, because I have damn near fucking nothing. Like, Miles Teller's alright, Michael B. Jordan's alright. You know, the core cast, they do an okay job. I think like the thing, because this is an origin story. Reed would never ditch Ben Grimm ever, ever. And like, just because they're like in their early 20s in this movie, I guess, and the whole going into the scientist thing, like going into the multiverse and going to like this alternate world, the other world where like Doom's character and the way Doom looks, and just Ben Grimm's whole story arc in this fucking movie, where they're trying to basically do a similar thing to the first original, like early 2000, 2005 Fantastic Four, but not really, because again, he's a young dude. And I think Michael B. Jordan's Human Torch is okay. I don't think, none of the characters individually excel. None of them really work together. It's incredibly bland. The whole movie is blue and grey because this is the era of Twilight, The Maze Runner, Amazing Spider-Man, Dark Knight. Like, it's just, at least the Dark Knight didn't look just blue the whole time though. But I understand going for that more emo, moody teen era like look. And I think it's so interesting as well because we grew up at the same time that these movies grew up, if that makes sense. When we're in the early 2000s, it's much more like not appealing to little kids, but it is more camp. It's more camp. It is a great word
Mm.
for it. And then in the 2010s, like when in that era of the teens, we're in our teens,
Mm.
maybe later 2010s, but we're in our teens, and we're going
Yeah.
through like, we should be attracted to these movies, but even we're smart enough to know that this is doo-doo dog shit. Like, it does suck. Like, the whole
Mm.
military part as well, I hate this. I hate when they do the military to and Venom does it as well, where it's just faceless
Mm.
goons where it's like and they're so brutalistic, and yeah, that might be true, but I like the Transformers military, I like the Silver Surfer sort of military, I like the military that's like there are redeeming characters in there, and it is a little bit more patriotic, and I'm not even American, like, I don't care about the patriotic stuff, but it's less, like, Orwellian is the word I'll use. This film
Mm.
feels so
Right.
dark and grey for no particular reason. The Fantastic Four is a nuclear family from the 50s in which, yeah, they do sort of have this tone, but they're also supposed to feel like a family, but this doesn't. This feels like a bunch of 20-year-olds who
Yeah.
fucking
I
don't have
think
jobs and
yeah.
their mums didn't give them an allowance and, "Oh, we're smart kids." Like, okay.
Mm. Yeah, one of the things that I really found with this film is these look like 20-something-year-old. Like,
These are people
these don't
our
look
age.
these don't look
Like,
like adults. Like in the previous ones and in this upcoming one, they look like adults. They look like people in their 30s and 40s, they don't look like 20-year-old college students, like they look, like
yeah, there is
that's what I
an approach there
found.
that
Yeah.
can work. There absolutely is a way that you could do that, that it could work, but not this black shoulder pad. Looks like they're wearing shoulder pads, like they're about to suit up and go play a game of footy. Like, what, like, and that's what you wear. Like, they're wearing like athletic wear.
Yeah,
Like
there's no color to this film. It is a bland, drab looking film.
that Doom, the green, yeah, Doom's color is green, but like the almost everything, the whole way he gets defeated, he just gets punched back into the world. Like, how stupid is that? Doom is so powerful. It's like not even funny how powerful he's supposed to be. And I understand the Thing is incredibly strong, but like
Mhm.
they should go toe to toe. And that's what I appreciate, at least in the second film, of like in
Mm.
the Silver Surfer, is that Sue Storm by herself loses to him like pretty badly because you
Uh,
absolutely would.
mm.
But yeah, I don't, I really don't appreciate almost anything about this film. There's not one decent redeeming quality except for maybe the funniest thing that has ever happened in a movie ever, which is wait, say that again. I think that is so obviously that's not the funniest thing that's ever happened in a movie ever, but it's just so bad. It is so bad. There's got to be bloopers somewhere, like 150 takes of them all cracking up when they're saying it because you can't. How do you take yourself seriously? And again, Miles Teller, especially in Top Gun, Maverick, and
Alright.
Whiplash,
Whiplash,
he's a
yeah.
phenomenal actor. He's a phenomenal actor in Whiplash as a young actor, and he's a phenomenal actor as a more aged actor now. He's probably still early 30s, but like or mid 30s. But he's a great actor now as well as he's aged because he can bring a sort of a
Mm.
younger adult, but still an adult man sort of vibe, not vibe, but performance to a role. And the same in Whiplash, he brings a sort of younger but proud, determined like tone to the role. But I think in this movie, his voice is almost cracking when he talks and he says it. And it
Mm.
sounds like he's trying to put on a deep voice. Did you notice that at all? When he goes, "Wait, say that again."
They just I feel like college like they're doing like a presentation or some it beginning near the film or something. Like Reed is, and also Johnny and Sue aren't related. Did I like? Is that?
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Like, so they're
I
not a
was.
family at all?
They're just all random people who met and became friends, which is just like I. That's just fundamental misunderstand. It's like having Batman killing people. Like that's just a fundamental misunderstanding of who these characters are, and should like don't like. I don't. Yeah, it's not a good film. I'm not gonna be honest. It's not a good film.
Yeah, no, and I agree, but I don't think it's worse than Silver Surfer. That's my contention. I think no, I don't think it's better than Silver Surfer. I think it's worse because it doesn't have like Doom sucks. The Fantastic Four suck in this movie. Like I'm not gonna lie, all they all sort of suck. Um, I they have like I guess they have like the Storm father like I can't remember his name, but
Mm.
the original Storm, where it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
in that way it's a family, but not really, kind of, because it's supposed to be Johnny. He's supposed to be the younger, like more explosive, arrogant hothead. But
Mm.
like he honestly feels like someone who would bully Reed in this movie. Miles Teller in high school. You know what I mean? Like Reed Richards, he doesn't feel like a leader. Doesn't feel like a captain.
Mm.
You know what
Mm.
I'm? And so, yeah, I truly, I don't know. For me personally, if I'm going to give it a rating, I'm going to slap a little rating on it. It's like a 2.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, I
I
literally can't find anything that I like about it.
but you're not. So you're not giving it a 1 though. It's.
No, well, like there's nothing because I'm not super passionate about my hate about it. So ones and zeros is like if I hate this thing, I don't hate it, but I just don't like it, and I don't. There's nothing great. There's nothing great. There's nothing really that good about it. Some of the performances are okay, and it's what like you can watch it, you can get through it,
Mm.
but it's just from this era of film that like we're so far past. But it felt like it came out at the very back end of this era of this film, like this film era, and that's why it didn't
Mm.
work because we had Marvel going and it was working, and they were setting the blueprint. And what were we doing with this? But yeah, so I give it a
Mm.
2 because that's reserved. Ones and zeros are reserved for a very special kind of hatred.
Well, I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 10. That's what I give it.
Yeah,
I did the thing, Harry, but clearly not for the
I
film that
do. You did do the
you
thing, but for the wrong film, but you did the thing. And personally, I'm just sort of excited to not be talking about that movie anymore.
because we're tying this into Fantastic Four: The First Steps,
Yes.
which I believe you hadn't seen the trailer. I think we were talking after we'd finished recording something else, and you watched the trailer, like the new trailer or something, while I was like while we were yeah talking or something,
Yeah.
and you were like basically doing a reaction video to it, but only I was watching it. And you were just every few seconds you were pausing it and being like, I don't like that, or you just making some comment about like I'm gonna be honest, these trailers haven't been me away for this film. Yeah, I don't. I mean, how are you feeling about this film?
I a bit of a the Pedro Pascal's just a bit, and I understand, like I like him, don't get me wrong. But like I just think one, shave the mustache, like commit to it. Two, I think at least what I've seen from more of the release trailers since we've gone on is that it's gonna just be trying to juggle so much. And Marvel typically does, and they can typically juggle that quite well, but I just don't know with the Fantastic Four because we've had what 3-4 opportunities so far that like no one has really excelled. I do really like the first one, but that's about it. You know, the super niche 50s thing is all right. I don't under like I get it in a sense that it really worked with WandaVision, so keep going. Don't overdo it, and it feels like they're slightly overdoing it. It's got a bit of a Jetsons vibe.
Mm.
They're having like they it seems rushed. How much time are we going through here? Because is it an origins or is it about the his like Reed's and Sue's children? Because I'm pretty sure that that's a part in it. Again, they have Galactus,
Mm.
Silver Surfer's a woman. I don't think that's a big deal. I heard some people making a big deal out about it. I don't care.
I mean, it's from the
Um,
comics, so
yeah, exactly. But some people are like, "Oh, you're not being more faithful to the original comic run."
yeah,
It's like,
it's
shut
like
up.
who
What? How can you
cares?
be faithful to one comic run? There are 10 comic runs of every single character, and there are
Yeah.
thousands of characters.
Like, these
So,
are the
like,
same people who would complain and say Miles Morales is not Spider-Man, you know, like, it's like those
yeah, they're
kind
like
of people.
Miles. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. And yeah, you're exactly right. These are people, but they're often the loudest. Yeah. I'm just not super. Like, I really want to see it because I really hope it's good. I hope
Yeah.
so much that it's good, but
I
there are things
yeah.
that worry me up front, like overdoing the 50s, like leaning too
Mm.
much into one thing, like rushing, like trying to juggle too many characters. I think Galactus looks kind of small, and I understand he's big, but he's bigger than that. He's bigger than the Celestials. How are you going to tie this into the MCU? Because realistically, Fantastic Four is 616. They're the main storyline. They're Avengers.
Mm.
They should take priority in the main storyline over that. Is this a different world? Is this before that? How are you going to tie this into the modern timeline that we're currently with? Or are you going to start doing X-Men where you get way too messy because it's already
I
messy?
mean, I need it to be good. I would like a good Fantastic Four movie. Um, like, that would just be great. I like a couple weeks ago. I don't know if I said this on pod, but I've been saying it to the people that I needed a good Superman film in my lifetime. You know, I needed a good new one to come out. And I mean, I'll save my thoughts more on that for the review of the year, but those expectations were met. I got what I wanted from that. So I hope that Disney and Marvel can do that again. I had a lot of issues getting made from my understanding. It took them a while to get it really sorted out on how they wanted to do it. Like, they kept getting John Watts, who did the recent Spider-Man films, was going to direct it originally, but then he dropped out, so they had to get a new director in. I think Adam Driver was like courted to play Reed Richards initially, but he didn't like it, like the script, so he didn't. Which is a shame because Adam Driver is a fantastic actor and would have been great. Also, I am fully expecting I Doctor Doom to show up at some. Like, I would be genuinely surprised if there's no Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom in this film. Like
I hope he's not Doctor Doom. I really do. Like, I really hope that that's just sort of a cameo, like he's a variant or whatever, however they want to justify it with their
yeah,
Marvel bullshit. But I
yeah,
hope he's not Doom personally.
yeah.
But yeah,
I
he
know
probably
the
will. I think you're right.
Yeah, I know the director said he won't be in it, but I don't trust people when they say, like filmmakers when they say that, because it's like, well,
Oh,
this is the Andrew.
didn't Andrew Garfield say for like
Yeah, this is the
2 years
Garfield.
straight? I swear I'm not
Yeah,
in this movie.
I'm not in. Yeah, and then he came out as like, oh, of course he was in this movie. So I would totally not be surprised if Doctor Doom is in it.
Although I will
And
give
yeah,
it to Andrew Garfield, he almost giggled every single time he said that. So like I
yeah.
can't he doesn't have a good poker face.
The theory I've been working on ever since they announced it is that Robert Downey Jr. is just playing like an evil Tony Stark variant. I don't want him to be Victor Von Doom. I want him to be Tony Stark. Like, that's what I want him to be. Because if
Yeah.
he is just Victor Von Doom, then that's ridiculous. That's just a terrible idea. He should just be, you know, Tony Stark in an alternate universe who is evil. Like, that's fine. I'm happy to take that. I don't mind. Like like that is what I hope it is, and I know again they've said he is Victor Von Doom, but again I don't believe them because I've this has happened enough times now to not trust everything you get told by a studio about a film they're making. So I do not believe he is Victor Von Doom. And if he is,
Yeah.
that will be a big problem. Like if that is truly the case, I will be disappointed with that, and I will not be a fan. I will not be a fan of
Mm.
that if that is the case, because it just is like it's just it screams of laziness, and like really you couldn't get any other actor to play this part. Like you couldn't get a different big name actor to play Doom. Like I saw there were lots of complaints about how they didn't get like a Romanian actor to play Doom, and I think that's completely fair. That's completely valid. But if this is a if this is of Doom and it's just Tony Stark, that's fine because then they can do Doom properly in another film. Like they can do him, do a more faithful to the comics version of that character. So again, until until the movie comes out and I see it, I'm just holding out that it's not actually Doom. It's not Victor Von Doom.
I don't think it will be either. I hope it's not. But we'll see. I mean, one thing I've noticed in one of the trailers, and Marvel does this, especially modern Marvel, they've been doing this, where they give like the Hulk, Korg, the Thing, at least in the trailer, like a softer side, like a more personable. The Thing has always been sort of a soft individual. Like Ben Grimm's always been like a good guy. You know what I mean? He's always had like important core values, but yeah, they're never really like brutalistic brutes, are they? They're always just sort of like they're into cooking or like computers
Mm,
or something, and they have like they're actually like a soft, funny character, but has to have be this big brute as a Fantastic Four. But yeah, I think that's going to be fun. I don't know if you've noticed, but he's kind of the character I've talked about most in this episode. He's a character that
mm,
I think you need to nail because he's so different. Right, one gets stretchy powers, that's awesome. One can go
mm,
invisible and do force fields, that's awesome. One you can
mm.
turn into a human fucking torch, that's awesome. You're a big rock.
Also,
Like
I'm still not sure of the Thing's design yet.
I'm happy with it. I'm completely fine with it. I think the Fan Four stick his design looked ugly as it looked ugly. It looked real bad. And then I think in the first one it looked really well because of how it was practical. I think it looked practical, at least like it worked really well. He also wasn't too outrageously big. He was just sort of
Yeah,
like, but in this one, even in bits of the trailer, and Marvel again, they're also victim to just overusing CG. Go practical where you can, and you can go practical with the Thing. And I think they have a little bit, but his movement looks a bit jumpy. Again, this is trailers as well, so this can't be
yeah.
right. Like, and also his brow. Like, I think that's the biggest thing, right? That people have a go at is the brow.
I think, yeah, like it's always difficult to make an opinion on on a film based on a trailer. Like you can't just because it like a 2 hour movie and you're only seeing like 2 to 3 minutes of that movie. Like it's not the yeah. I wouldn't. I could believe it is quite good, but until I see the movie, I'm very much like yeah. I want it to be great.
So we'll see, But at the moment, they have, I'd say, probably size 9 men's shoes to fill. Not big shoes to fill, but like average
Yeah.
or slightly below.
Ugh,
You know,
they've definitely had a lot of issue.
practice.
Like, look, yeah, post, post, Endgame, everything's been far more hit or miss. Like,
Yeah. But even just as not even just as the Marvel thing, which again it is important. I mean, there really have been like hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. And then
Mm,
with the TV series, I'm not counting, although I do think Loki was an absolute standout. And I feel like this sort of fits that theme as well a bit. But I feel like they saw the success in Loki and they're traveling a lot more into that direction of things, which is okay. I'm a
mm,
fan of it, but I don't know how much more you can milk this cow. I feel like you need to
yeah.
stop latching on to one thing that works and create something that works, like Shang-Chi, and build off that. But just in the eyes of Fantastic Four on the big screen, I think they need to. Uh,
Mm,
the bar is not that high, but it's not that low. Like it's
mm,
you can absolutely go above and beyond with Fantastic Four. You just need to do it right. All they have to do
mm.
is get this one right, because it was such a huge moment when they obtained this IP.
Like a post Avengers Endgame, it was kind of like, okay, what now? Because it's like you've done like this is as big as this franchise can surely go, and they haven't hit those heights yet. And I'll be honest, I think after these next two Avengers films, it will really be like we can't go any further now. Like
Yeah, what is going to happen? Have you ever thought? Because I've often thought about what's the end game, like besides Endgame, but like what actually, like where do you go? What do
well,
you
they haven't
do?
done N yet, and but they're having difficulties getting an X-Men film off the ground. It's a case of
Then why does
like
it always have to be a team? Why can't you just sort of run with good individual films that cross over with each other? Like Shang-Chi was so good, and I feel like it doesn't see its praise enough because it came out like how many years ago now? Like 2 or 3, 4 years ago?
which one? Endgame,
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, 2021. So yeah,
Yeah, so
4 years.
4 years ago. And
They haven't done
that
anything with
one
it yet.
worked so well. So I'm like, I reckon you sort of avoid teams a little bit. You leave them for those big team up movies every once in a while, but go back to what worked. Don't go, "Oh, here are the Eternals, and here's another team, and here are the Thunderbolts, and here's this, and here's that." Just even though the Thunderbolts did receive quite high praise, I think just
Mm,
pick a character that works like Shang-Chi, and maybe, I don't know, have maybe one other hero swing into their movie. Have,
yeah,
you know, someone with a bit more representation. I understand that they're doing a lot more representation, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, but more culturally
yeah,
specific, or more environmentally, like, have it make it make sense. Don't just do it for that cheap cameo. Make it important, but, like, you have so much
yeah.
great source material to pull from. You shouldn't be this lackluster lately, Marvel. Like, you have
Mm.
such a catalog of original material that a lot of
Yeah.
your large fan base wouldn't have ever read, because how many people actually read comics?
I would say this: they need this fantastical movie to be good, and for it to do well. Like they need this film to do well because if this doesn't work, the next Avengers films are going to be in a lot of like because this is a clear part of those two films. So it'll this is like a bit very important for them. Yeah, thank you, Harry, for joining me for this week's episode.
Always a pleasure. It's over the last 2 odd years, it's become a bit of a staple for it's a great outlet to speak
Um,
about films, especially superhero ones. I always get so excited for these ones. Like, I'm always keen to do the episodes. Don't get me wrong, but like, I feel like you can hear it in my tone. I've always got a tiny bit more like,
yeah,
ooh, because at the end of the day, I'm just a normie. I'm just a I'm just a normie who likes films a
you
little bit more
enjoy
than the
you
next
enjoy your
normie.
superhero stuff. You know, you enjoy your superhero films, and I do too. To be fair, I'm a big fan.
I think it's that feeling of being powerless or watching superheroes makes me feel like what? No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just always loved him. I'm just a little guy. I can't I can't help it. But yeah, thanks for having me, William.
Yeah, that's so good. Thank me. We're getting closer and closer every week to episode 200, which is gonna be enough time, and that's gonna be the big one, because yeah, we got some. Hopefully, there's gonna be a big episode for episode 200. Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you all so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.